Interrogation rooms are where the truth is often exposed, but sometimes what unfolds is far more disturbing than anyone could imagine. From intense psychological pressure to shocking confessions, the footage captured in these rooms can reveal the darkest sides of human behavior. In this video, we'll dive into 35 of the most disturbing interrogation moments ever caught on camera. Quantrell D. Schwartzlow, a 17-year-old man, found himself unattended in a police interrogation room with his hands tied. Despite his restraints, Schwartzlow hurried to the window as the detective left.
Just give me a minute.
In an audacious move, he dove headfirst from the 12-foot height. Surveillance cameras clearly caught Schwartzlow running across the lawn after jumping through the window. The officer came back 14 minutes later to find the room empty and the window wide open.
Oh, no!
3.5 hours later, police found Schwartzlow hiding at a friend's house. He pleaded not guilty to escape charges, and his case is still going on in court. In this video captured by a surveillance camera, a nervous suspect in a Florida police station tried to escape through the ceiling of an interrogation room. When he noticed that the police had left him alone, he saw an opportunity to make a run for it. However, his attempt was unsuccessful, as 2 sheriff officers quickly caught and handcuffed him, moving him to a more secure area. After shooting a 17-year-old, 27-year-old Thomas Robinson faced life in jail. It was his last-ditch effort to avert the doom destined for him, and he intended to make things as chaotic as possible. In the interrogation room, as an officer moved to handcuff him, Thomas's eyes locked on the cop's gun holster. In an instant, he went for the weapon, ready for a deadly contest. The officer's holster, however, thwarted his attempt. 2 more officers with tasers entered the struggle. Thomas was quickly brought under control. But looking back at the video, you would realize that despite the high tension in the room, Thomas repeatedly muttered, "Kill me. Kill me." His repeated plea hinted at a deeper fear. Was he trying to get the police to kill him to get away from what was about to come? In a shocking escape near Las Vegas, 25-year-old murder suspect Alonzo Perez turned a routine interrogation into a daring getaway. While alone in a North Las Vegas interrogation room, Perez managed to twist and snap his metal handcuffs using his own body weight.
In this just-released video, watch as Alonzo Perez, left alone by North Las Vegas detectives in this interrogation room, twists and breaks his metal handcuffs using his...
Within an hour, Perez wriggled free from his shackles, crawled through the ceiling tiles, and slipped out of sight. Moments later, as officers checked in briefly after leaving to handle some paperwork, they realized Perez had already executed his escape plan.
Tackled by his ankles.
Mistakes were made. We did have a video feed, a live feed, but nobody was monitoring.
Perez is also...
Surveillance cameras captured the incident, but no one was monitoring the feed at the time. Perez, now facing new charges, is also linked to a July shooting, but he hasn't been charged yet as he remains on the run.
Was monitoring.
Perez is also suspected of being the shooter in this July surveillance video, firing 9 shots into this office, but hasn't been charged.
This freighting footage captured the moment a kidnapping suspect lunged at an officer and attempted to attack with a pen during an interrogation. It raises the question, what could have driven him to such audacity?
9-5, put your unit up here. Put your hands behind your back now.
The suspect, identified as Reed Duran, was arrested after visiting a middle school in Greene County, Ohio, where he impersonated a parent and planned to drug and kidnap a young boy.
Stop. Put your hands behind your back now.
Okay.
Are you kidding me right now?
After being subdued and taken into more secure custody, he was later charged with attempted kidnapping, felonious assault, and escape.
Put your hands behind your back now. Try to stab me, really?
This is Franklin, who was apprehended by a Dallas police officer on the highway and taken into custody. He was wanted by the police for several offenses.
You okay?
No,
What's wrong?
I just thought of blood.
From what?
Huh?
From what?
Overall.
While in custody, after a brief interview with a detective, Franklin began to vomit severely, and his vomit turned to blood. The police quickly offered him tissue in a bowl and called for an ambulance.
Okay.
How long you had that?
Once he was taken to the hospital, Franklin claimed he was just drunk and would be fine soon. However, he unexpectedly passed away. At the time this video was made, the investigation into his case was still ongoing, which was surprising and concerning as the cause of his death remains a mystery.
So you drink a lot?
Franklin tells first responders he would like to be taken.
In Calgary court, police detailed how murder suspect Saad Osman lost control during an interrogation. The heated scene was filmed by a CCTV camera and revealed in court in January 2019. The genesis of this was that Osman and his brothers were accused of second-degree murder.
You were there. That's fine. Right? And when you came back with Sakib, these guys were waiting.
During the interrogation, Osman initially appeared calm. However, about 3 hours into the 5-hour questioning, he lost control. He threw a soft drink cup, broke items around the room, and even attempted to damage the recording equipment. Despite the chaos, the interrogator, Staff Sergeant John Wilson, remained composed, sitting with his legs crossed. Osman's behavior was an attempt to avoid answering questions.
You're not being forced.
I am being forced. I don't f***ing want to be here anymore. You hear me? Stop. I don't want to f***ing be here.
Afterward, Osman did strange things that weren't caught on camera, like smoking pieces of his cast and setting the interview table on fire with a lighter. At one point, when no one was around, he took the broken cup out of the trash and urinated in it.
I don't f***ing like it, man.
And Jess has
All right.
courage to... Don't do
These people are f***ing playing games. I don't like it.
However, the 2015 murder case later found Osman and his co-defendants guilty of manslaughter. Alberta's top court upheld Osman's 17-year prison sentence for his role in the murder, deeming it appropriate given the circumstances. This interrogation moment is absolutely shocking. After an innocent mother's life was taken, the murder suspect was accused of killing another person. He was arrested after the second murder. However, something shocking happened in the interrogation room. Apparently, the man tried to kill himself just before an interrogation session was about to start. Unfortunately for him, he was caught in the act and was subdued.
Trying to kill yourself, man?
It's not that bad, buddy.
This teenager, Desiree Strickland, sat in a dimly lit interrogation room, handcuffed. She kept looking around for a way out. It felt like the room was closing in on her as the officers told her the horrifying details of the murder she was accused of.
Of 2015, Desiree Strickland in an interrogation room, Miami-Dade police, alone, handcuffed, attempts to get out of the cuffs, trying to bust a move. It doesn't.
All the police wanted from her was more information to help with the case. Apparently, a 17-year-old boy named Jose Amaya Guardado was found near Homestead, Florida, having been killed with a blade in June 2015. The crime involved 3 other individuals, including Strickland.
Guardado, hacked to death with a machete. What you're seeing is police interrogation obtained by CBS 4.
She asserted her innocence as the officers discussed Jose's burial in a shallow grave and his family's subsequent discovery of him there. Reports indicated that Strickland's boyfriend, the mastermind and accused drug dealer, was the ringleader.
I want to know what you were involved in. I didn't do anything. Listen.
Strickland maintained her innocence and claimed to have left the scene before the victim suffered fatal injuries. But her story didn't hold up when the cops continued asking questions. In this dashcam video, a woman is seen being arrested for driving a stolen car. The police handcuffed her and began questioning her before placing her in their vehicle. Initially, she appeared emotional to seem innocent.
Okay.
What the hell's going on?
Place your hands behind your back.
Sir, please, what is going on?
Okay. It was reported as stolen. Okay? So you're in possession of it.
I didn't.
Despite repeatedly insisting that she hadn't stolen the car, the situation took a surprising turn. With her hands still cuffed, she managed to jump into the driver's seat of the police car and sped off, almost hitting the police officer standing by.
Trying to steal your car. David 136, suspect just stole my vehicle. It's heading south.
The police quickly sent out an alert for backup, but before they could catch up, she jumped out of the moving vehicle at a complex. She was then promptly arrested again.
Is that her right there? There she is.
Come here now.
The night was calm in Atlanta, Georgia, as a police officer walked up to a DUI suspect with his body camera, recording everything. The camera captured each moment as the officer gave instructions and asked the suspect about an ID card he had. The suspect, who was clearly nervous, answered as best he could, his eyes darting around anxiously.
I need you to stay in that position until I give you all the instructions. Do you understand? Right. I need you to stay in that position until I give you all the instructions. Do you understand? All right.
As the officer was putting handcuffs on the suspect suddenly ran toward the edge of a nearby bridge. The officer shouted into the dark as the man was fleeing, warning that it was a 60-foot drop, but it was too late.
Who's that? Whose idea is this?
The suspect jumped into the void and disappeared into the shadows below. For a moment, he was completely gone, leaving only silence behind.
There's a building over here.
A few hours later, after a long and intense search, the suspect was found hiding in a thick forest. He was bruised and battered when the police took him into custody. Instead of finding freedom, his attempted escape ended with him being taken to a nearby hospital. In Tulsa, on July 13, 2023, just before noon, a Tulsa police officer patrolling downtown approached a group near 8th and Denver. One of the men, Miguel Hernandez, tried to deceive the officer by giving a fake name.
Right.
But when the officer started hitting Hernandez with more questions, he took off running, leading to a short chase. Just when it seemed like Hernandez might escape, a passing driver, seeing the commotion, stopped his truck, jumped out, and tackled Hernandez on the sidewalk.
Union 403, start pursuit. We're going northbound on Denver. Coming up to 11th Street.
Hispanic male, black t-shirt.
Just a few steps behind Hernandez, the officer quickly moved in to arrest him. Hernandez was wanted on several felony charges, including burglary and illegal gun ownership.
Man, bro. Man, homie. Fuck. Oh. Bro, I didn't even.
In this gripping body cam footage, we are taken directly into the heart of a tense and chaotic moment inside a bustling Ohio Walmart on August 13th. What begins as a routine confrontation by Cleveland police quickly spirals into a frantic foot chase as two suspects, Shanaja Jones and Walter Clay Robinson Jr., make a desperate bid for freedom. Cops are rushing through the halls to catch the two before they can get away, which causes chaos at the scene. People in the store are shocked to see the police chase go through the busy store, with each turn taking them closer to their targets.
Back here? No, they was in the front by us. She ran back here.
After a nerve-wracking chase, the officers manage to corner the duo. With handcuffs clicking into place, the chase is over. Robinson and Jones are arrested, both facing charges of menacing by stalking.
On the ground now! Right now. On your belly! On your belly! Hands behind your back!
However, for Jones, the story doesn't end there. Her troubles deepen as she is also charged with murder and contempt of court. A South Milwaukee police officer riding with an inmate saw a car speeding and swerving on the highway around 11:30 p.m. on a quiet Monday night. The officer knew something was wrong and decided to follow the car. The car's erratic driving continued, leading the officer to call for backup. When the police finally stopped the car, they found Michael Kristen, a 36-year-old driver from Cudahy with an open beer in his cup holder. Kristen admitted to drinking, and a breath test revealed his blood alcohol level was 0.14, nearly twice the legal limit. Despite this, he abruptly exited the car, ran across the road, and tried to scale a wall to escape. Deputies quickly caught up with him, using a taser to subdue him before handcuffing him. During the struggle, the deputies sustained minor injuries. Kristen, who has 5 prior DUI convictions and is currently on parole, now faces serious charges that could result in a prison sentence of over 12 years. This footage starts with a tense scene. 2 sheriff's officers are standing on either side of a suspect as they lead him to the police van. The suspect is handcuffed. His expression reveals uncertainty and quiet resolve as he struggles to understand the reason for his arrest. A significant energy shift occurs as they approach the van.
Will you unlock your car, hurry?
I'm running!
Suddenly, the suspect breaks out in a sprint as he tries to escape from officers. 2 sheriffs boot the ground and sprint after him into pandemonium.
3 black male, white shirt. He's cuffed. He's running across Fairfield. I'm gonna tase you.
The man who fled is about to escape, but then he trips over something and falls heavily. His breath catches for an instant as he looks back at the officers one more street over. They have caught up. Breathless, he has no choice but to concede. And as one of the sheriffs radios it into dispatch in a calm but hurry-laced voice, he alerts his colleagues about the attempted escape.
I'm gonna tase you.
I'm down.
Go get the evidence. Go get the evidence.
Still in Russia, specifically in Vladivostok, a recent video shows the police interrogating local journalist Gennady Shulga about the January 23, 2021 protest. The police not only humiliated him, but also raided his home to extract information about the opposition in the lead-up to the protest. They even released the video themselves. Initially, this man was not guilty of rape, and he did not deserve to be tortured in that manner. The man shown being tortured in the video is in love with the daughter of the family. He was discovered by the mother during a moment of intimacy, which led to his wrongful punishment. He began to beg for mercy when the beatings became too severe, but his pleas were ignored. This prompted onlookers to call the police. This is Richard Poplawski, and he was accused of murdering 3 police officers.
Number 5. Open the slot.
After the killings, Poplawski was being transferred to another cell while receiving medication. He resisted following the orders given to him. The officers took their time to handle him as required while preparing to lock him up again. The incident occurred on May 8, 2009. This heartless video that surfaced online tells a story about a guy who was thrown inside fire for stealing the eastern part of Nigeria. It was reported that he did some sort of crime, and the elders in the village decided to take justice into their hands. After some sort of interrogation with him, he claimed that he did not know anything about what they were torturing him for. Spencer, who happened to be accused of killing a lady, probably her girlfriend, was seen in a conversation with the detective officer, waiting for him to admit he is guilty of the killing.
Tell us about the altercation.
There was no altercation.
Okay, and tell us about the accident.
There wasn't one.
Okay, then you're lying.
I wasn't even there that long.
Then you're lying.
He refused to agree with the detective. Then he was taken on a cigarette break. After the break, he seems a little bit composed, and he decided to just come up with the fact himself, though he doesn't mention that he killed her.
I think you did the right thing, okay, by telling us everything. So it clears up a lot of stuff, and, I think that's going to make a difference.
In this video that has surfaced online, a report states that a sheriff officer who happened to be Rosenbaum and Justin Seaman Joe, who allegedly assaulted Joe Urban. Joe was arrested for restricting arrest earlier, but while in the cell,
I'm showing you here how it's so talking with those people. There's an individual under arrest for nobody's quite sure what charge.
Rosenbaum took the advantage to assaulted him despite his sign of submission. He teased into seizure and refused to respond to that despite his yelling. The reporter had to call the sheriff's office to report what the officers had done and requested they must be held responsible for it.
But the cop tases him again. He tases him again, he makes him go onto the ground.
This scene begins with the interrogation of Mr. Anderson by Smith, by asking the question that he is living 2 lives. One life as a program writer for a software company, and the second life as an hacker whose name is Neo.
Mr. Anderson, it seems that you've been living 2 lives.
Mr. Smith then continues to give Mr. Anderson a new future if he decides to help than to catch Morpheus, who is labeled as a terrorist, but Mr. Anderson refuses. Mr. Anderson requests for a phone call, and he is being rendered the ability to speak. he was also held down by 2 guards and had a bug implanted into this body. In the psychological section in Frontata, the California police interrogated Thomas Perez Jr. for 17 hours. He was accused of killing his dad and asked him to confess.
Murdered your dad.
No, I did
Yes, you
not.
did. Yeah, yes. Daddy's dead because of you.
After long hours of him denying that he didn't kill his dad, the police played and tortured him psychologically, telling him his mind is lying to him that he was the one who killed his father, and he eventually accepted the false accusation. After all the threats to kill his dog and false admission that he killed his father, Perez's father was spotted at Frontata train station alive. Police laughed at him.
Detectives keep pushing. Perez spirals further. Eventually, Perez Jr. makes a false confession to killing his father.
A homicide detective had an interviewing section with a suspect who killed his friend, Mike.
The victim, 30-year-old Michael Martinez, grew up in the same neighborhood where he was run over.
During the interview, Cliff Porter had to give more information on Mike's condition. While doing that, the suspect said he didn't do any of it intentionally and that he was in a hurry to drive off while Mike came to have a discussion. His fearlessness led him to hitting him. The suspect then asked the detective, Cliff, if Mike is dead, and that was when he known he had given too much information which he regretted, and count as part of a lesson.
Change your mind and you don't like my attitude or whatever, you tell me to goes off, okay? How do you know Mike? My best friend.
9 years ago in Harris County, a group of policemen tries to move an inmate out of his cell. They ask the inmate to comply peacefully, but he resists, so the policeman decides to do it the hard way by charging on him to pin him down. The inmate keeps resisting. This led to one of the police officers to stay on him so as to pin him down, and when the nurse tries to inject him, the syringe breaks. One of nurses checks to see if the inmate is breathing and notices he is not. They try to bring him back by giving him oxygen, but turns out he isn't reading any pulse. A boy of 14 years old was in the interviewing room with a detective telling how he got his close friend murdered, Jaime.
February 3rd, 2004, a 14-year-old student at Southward Middle School in Palmetto Bay, Florida.
He started by telling how he had planned to come into the school early with him, to murder him, without even knowing the reason he wanted to do so. He even requested his mother to get him a latex glove. He proceeded with his explanation, which states how he sliced his neck, lied to him after pleading not to kill him, and got him stabbed to death.
How did you know he was dead? I made sure by taking my knife, the point of my knife, and poking him in the face.
In a chilling series of events, a 16-year-old girl named Nad Chung found herself in the grip of a relentless police interrogation on suspicion of killing her 1-year-old son. For hours, Chung was subjected to intense pressure by 2 detectives. They deprived her of food and water, cornering her into admitting not just to her son's death, but also to the mysterious death of her younger brother months earlier, a death she claimed was due to sudden death syndrome. The detectives, however, dismissed her pleas of innocence. With every passing minute, the tension in the room escalated as the detectives made false promises, continuously hammering away at her defenses until she finally broke, confessing to a crime she didn't commit. Finally, after hours of relentless pressure, Chung confessed.
Now, you said earlier you're going to tell me the truth. I'm waiting. No, you didn't. That baby was smothered. Somebody smothered him.
She had no idea that the very people demanding the truth from her were themselves weaving a web of lies. The detectives falsely claimed they had scientific proof that her son had been smothered, pushing her further into a corner from which there seemed no escape. A Milwaukee County corrections officer was attacked by an inmate. Both the officer and the inmate were seen in an argument, and suddenly this happened. The inmate, who is in black dress, is seen to have been the first attacker. They both fought for a while before the police came to their rescue. As the police entered, he quickly used stun gun on the inmate so as to free the correction officer on time. thought what led to their fight was unknown. The story takes another dark turn, this time in Salt Lake City, Utah. A man named Michael Bruno was arrested for DUI and taken to a police station for processing. Bruno repeatedly told the officers that his heart was hurting and pleaded to be taken to the hospital, but his requests fell on deaf ears. The officers dismissed his concerns, accusing him of wasting their time. Desperate, Bruno made a decision that would cost him his life. As tensions escalated, Bruno grabbed one of the officers' guns, leading Officer Tyler Longman to react with deadly force. He fired his weapon at point-blank range, killing Bruno instantly. An investigation followed, but the conclusion was as cold as the events that transpired. The actions of the officers were deemed justified. 2 lives ended prematurely, both in the cold confines of police custody, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and the haunting echoes of what truly happened. On June 16, 2018, a Cuyahoga County Corrections officer pepper-sprayed an inmate. She was brought in and got tied on a chair then. The video shows Idris Fareed holding back the inmate on chair and pepper-sprayed her for 6 seconds. The officer pledged guilty of assaulting her, and he was charged with his fellow officer who were at the scene together. In this Reddit video, a suspect who was in the interrogation room attempted a high-charge crime. He tried to stab the police officer upon his entering on his chest, but the officer was guided with the bulletproof. Also, he quickly got him down and got him tied. During the scenario, some 2 other officers entered, appearing as an agent who wanted to get him tortured.
Put your hands back now. Try to stab me, really?
When police arrived at the crime scene, they entered the master bedroom. The first thing they saw was the body slumped on the floor. The victim had a single gunshot wound to the head, fired at close range. The victim was identified as 27-year-old Jason Reichart. Everyone had good things to say about Jason. He was well respected, making a good living, and buying a home. His life was on track. A day and a half later, detectives Lucy and Wilson received good news. RP had been caught, 30-year-old Richard Paul White, and wanted to talk. The objective was simple: find out what happened to Jason. It was an accident. We were just sitting there cleaning our guns, me and Jason. He was my best friend. And then my gun went off. 1 minute, we're laughing. The next, Jason has a hole in his head. I panicked. I didn't know what to do.
Lucy and Wilson now focus exclusively on these new murders.
Tell me what happened.